What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Collecting and Hobbies. Today, we're going to do something quite different. Kind of not different, not that much. It's an action figure haul, action figure reviews. That's what we do here the majority of the time. But this time, this is going to be an introductory type video towards most likely a brand new channel focusing completely on Sonic the Hedgehog merchandise hunts. This is the 35th anniversary of Sonic the Hedgehog. And, well, lately I've been initiated into the Sonic the Hedgehog fan club, I guess. So, what exactly have I been getting into? That's the real question. Mostly just the Jack specific action figures for the most part. Um, as you guys have seen over the last couple of years, I've kind of migrated a little bit away from these super articulated action figures as far as videos go. I have been putting up new stuff that I normally don't cover. Most of this is brought upon by family members, nephew, niece, sister, whatever, stuff like that, where basically they've been collecting these things. I grew up, with Sonic the Hedgehog, Mario, Super Mario Brothers, all that stuff. And I've always liked Super Mario Brothers. That was always my favorite game as a kid. And, Nintendo had Mario, Sega had Sonic. He was the primary face of the Sega company, the competition for Nintendo and Mario Brothers. So a couple of years ago, I decided, why not? Why not add a couple of Mario figures, like just the main cast, like like Mario, Luigi, the Princess, Baby Donkey Kong, because that's where you got to start. Just a few Nintendo representations, even though I don't really play video games anymore. Just a little something different to put on the shelf because there's a reason for it. Disney Plus has been, we all know Disney's been handling Star Wars for quite some time now. It's been very divisive with the fan base. Some people love it, some people don't. And some people just kind of, okay, well, that's the new Star Wars, and go along with it. So not to talk about this for too long, but Star Wars has become something of a kind of sort of not so popular as it used to be, kind of, except for The Mandalorian. And the figures are mostly Disney Plus figures based off the live action Disney stuff. And there was a couple cartoons, but not everything has to be Star Wars all the time. And when there's a lull in the Star Wars collecting, and there's nothing really that you just dying to have, as a collector, you just kind of veer off into different things. But as you've seen on this channel, I do Transformers, Marvel Legends, DC, Multiverse, pretty much all the action-based oriented type of action figures at one point or another. To some degree, more or less, depending on what it is. Um, Star Wars, Masters of the Universe, and Mask, Mobile Armored Strike Command. Those were the three things that I liked the most when I was younger. So those bring back the most nostalgia. I've done it on my podcast. And Mario Brothers is one of those things where it was probably the biggest video game, possibly the biggest video game of pretty much all time for the most part. Um, as far as growing up with it, there was Pac-Man, but that was a little bit earlier on. But Mario and Nintendo have been around big time, like since I don't know, 1980, 70s. I'm not even sure, but um, in the mid to late 80s, 90s, and even up till now, I guess you could say Mario is one of the top, video games. So, since I was collecting the Jakks Pacific Mario figures, I had pretty much all the 2.5 inch and 4-inch figures. I had the opportunity to get them, and I found pretty much everybody at one point or another, and over the years, and so I picked up some of the ones that I wanted, and some that I just thought were essential, and now we're moving into more Jakks Pacific stuff with a little bit more articulation, actually. So Jakks Pacific picked up the license in 2019 for Sonic the Hedgehog. By 2021, they were doing more articulated figures. A lot of the Mario stuff, kind of like cake toppers. A lot of them didn't have any articulation or very little. They could move their head or maybe their shoulders. But over the last couple of years, they've been adding articulation to the 2.5-inch scale, and same with the 4-inch scale. And Sonic the Hedgehog, since it was acquired much later, that Jack's been doing Mario since like 2001, I think, maybe something like that. So they're using a lot of old molds. The Sonic figures, they go along perfectly with the Mario figures, kind of. They have similar packaging, similar style, but they have more articulation than any of the Mario's figures. Most of them have about 11 to 13 points, depending on how you count it. And over the last couple of years, they've been putting out 5-inch figures, which is closer to the 6-inch scale that most collectors collect, like Star Wars Black Series, Marvel Legends, etc. And they have 22 plus points of articulation. They even released a Tails figure with robotic arms with 70 points of articulation. That in of itself, that could be a whole video by itself in a way. He has like, I don't remember, several arms, kind of like a Dr. Octopus type figure. If Jakks Pacific can intentionally release a figure with 70 points of articulation for the regular retail price of $14.99, why are we paying Hasbro $30 for Marvel Legends, or $25 or $28 or however much it is? Why are we paying them anything? That's absolutely ridiculous. Hasbro says they can't do it because it costs too much. Jakks Pacific is a much smaller company, and they can do it. So if Jakks can do it, there's no reason Hasbro can't do it. Absolutely no reason whatsoever. They're just plain flat out lying. So, So not necessarily the intent of adding that to this video, but it was something I needed to say. um, so the Sonic figures, in other words, what I'm trying to say is now that they've reached the 5-inch scale and have at least 22 points of articulation, we're talking like butterfly joints, thigh swivel, arm swivel, like at the bicep, the shoulders, double jointed elbows, the wrists, head, midsection, um, the thigh cuts, double jointed at the knees, at the ankles. I mean, if Jakks Pacific could put those out for $14.99, there's no reason that any other company can't either. So this video, I'm going to do an unboxing most likely, and the reason that I'm using still pictures and just talking over it is because I literally I don't really have any place to show you the entire haul that I promised, because it actually got bigger. It was a bigger haul because I put this off an extra week, and instead of a 17 item haul, it's more like a 27 item haul. So a huge, massive, straight out the gate, getting into it, introductory 27 figure haul just to start off the line. And there's actually a very good reason for it. Jakks Pacific intentionally keeps their prices down to a level where they're affordable for people to pick them up for their kids, and adding articulation for the collectors, for the ones who have nostalgia for Sonic and Mario, and appealing to both audiences now. So that's a good thing. I'm glad I am happy with some of what they're doing. Let's talk about one other thing, though. The assortments. I wasn't actually going to say this, but Jakks Pacific, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, I am a former retailer, so sometimes they will listen to me, but I'm just one person. But I've seen other people putting out YouTube videos as well. What's up with the 7 Sonics per case in a 12 figure assortment? You got to stop that. If you want these to sell through at a faster rate, which means retailers will sell out quicker and order more, you got to stop doing that. If there's 4 figures in a wave, make it simple. 3, 3, 3, 3. Just 3 each of each character. So those, not everything's got to be 1 per case where it's super duper ultra rare, hard to find. Maybe that's what you're going for. It kind of seems like it. It's like you think your collectors actually want that, where they have to pay $100 on eBay just to get 1 character. That's ridiculous. Just do it 3, 3, 3, 3. I mean, you're intentionally keeping the prices down to $9.99 for a 4-inch figure with a good 11 to 15 points of articulation. That's a very good thing. So just keep it simple. These things have such big bubbles that some Targets only have 1 peg allotted for the Sonic 4-inch figures. That means they can only put 5 figures out at a time. And if they just happen to grab the figures on one side of the case where there's 7 Sonics and all they stock is 5 Sonics, and wait for them to sell until they put anything else out, which is what a lot of Targets do, it's going to be a while. Because when people walk by and all they see is Sonic, 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 and it's the same figure over and over and over and over, they think it doesn't sell well. Most likely. It's what they call a peg warmer. and there's no real urgency to pick that figure up because it's in abundance. So change that. Please change that. Okay, so for other than that, that's really, for the most part, the biggest negative I have to say about the Jack specific Sonic merchandise line. The only other thing, add elbow articulation to the 4-inch figures if you can. Or if you're going the 5-inch route, if you're making every figure 5 inches now, then I'm on board. I like that. I like that style. They're a little bit bigger. You got a lot of people been collecting for a couple of years at the 4-inch scale, but there's not a whole lot of characters because you keep on loading up with Sonics and more Sonics, and a lot of repeats of Sonics and Tails and Knuckles with different accessories, where it's basically the same action figure. You're just buying a different accessory or a slight difference in their, like they might have a smile or a smirk or an open mouth. So yeah, so the 5-inch figures, especially the DC ones, I like those so far. Well, you'll see here in just a few minutes exactly what I have, because now it's time to reveal everything, start opening stuff, and start having fun with the channel, which there's a possibility where this could be the first video of a brand new channel. It just really depends on how many people watch this. I do realize that when you dedicate a channel specifically to one particular fandom, especially this one, it tends to pick up more traction and to get a lot more views. I'm not really concerned about views. I don't do this for a living, but at the same time, you know, the more people that watch, the funner it is, of course. So there is a possibility I might dedicate a channel to this. It's Jack specific, probably Mario and Sonic at the same time. But I've already pretty much got all the Mario figures that I can handle. So most of it will be Sonic and Sonic merch hunts. Those seem to be very popular. I love doing toy hunts, but at the same time, they can be problematic because of, I live in California and there's a lot of people. It seems like there's always tons of people in the aisles, and especially, well, you just have to be there at a certain time when there's nobody around, I guess. Especially if you're doing like the, if you're looking for the figures at the checkout lanes, which is kind of how I got into it, doing the checkout lanes. That's actually how I got into it. Is I was looking for an Amy figure that's 2.5-inch scale for my niece, and my nephew also collects it. And at the time, this was probably about October 2025, and I couldn't find Amy at that particular Walmart. However, I did find Rouge the Bat. I didn't know who that Rouge the Bat was. I didn't know if this was a figure that anybody wanted. I was trying to contact her when I found it. I had a feeling that it was one of the rarer figures, and it didn't really go for much online, so it wasn't that big of a deal, I didn't think at the time. And it was kind of weird looking, and I just didn't pick it up. I was never picked up a Sonic figure at that point, and I just thought it looked kind of weird. It's got like a heart suit body, I don't know, hearts all over. And anyway, it's not the type of figure that I normally pick up, and for whatever reason, I just decided not to get it because I didn't even know if anybody wanted it. So I decided to wait till I found Amy. And then now circle back a few months, or now circle back to now. Rouge the Bat is actually a hard figure to get. I should have picked it up. Um, I did pick her up. Well, you'll find out in the, I guess, in this haul. And I picked her up at a couple different costumes, DC and the regular costume. So, um, yeah, I guess it's time to do some action figure unboxings and see what we got in the haul. So let's go.